Tinfoil hat. Oh, what the fuck are you guys even talking about?
Global controls will have to be imposed, and a world governing body will be created to enforce them.
Welcome to Tinfoil Hat. We go deep, homeboy. Aaron, open your mind. Drink from the fountain of knowledge. There's lizard people everywhere. That's some interdimensional shit. Wake up, Aaron.
This is only the beginning.
Dude, you just blew my mind.
Are you ready to get your mind blown?
All right, welcome to Tinfoil Hat. We are live from the Wise Wolf Gold and Silver Studios. Go to SamTripoli.gold, use the promo code Tinfoil, and you too can get in the precious metals game for as little as $50 a month. Guys, we got a great episode for you. We're gonna do some deep dives into some stuff, some body swapping, some a little symbolic yoga symbolism and in Christ's death. I mean, we got horizontal refraction. I mean, like, dude, there's so much to go on in this episode, and I think it's super important, and I'm very excited to talk about, so I hope you guys enjoy this. We're very excited to have this next guest on. He's a backpacker. He's a yogi. He's also a firefighter. This one's for the ladies. Bah, 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 bah. Very excited to have him on, a man who's seen a lot, done a lot, and we're honored to have him on the show. Please welcome Ryan Zehm. How are you, sir?
Doing good. Thanks for having me on.
It's an honor and a privilege to have you here. Thank you for joining us on our show. Thanks for spending time with us. Ryan, we asked you this kind of before the show, but can you tell us a little bit about yourself and where our listeners can find you?
Well, at the moment, I'm just on YouTube, so youtube.com/Ryan Zehm, that's Zehm. And my other channels have been deleted. And
welcome.
So this is my last surviving channel.
Oh, we just subscribed you. You got a subscriber out of this, so it's gonna,
right on.
It's all going to work out. So tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, I love, I've indie game developer. So because I've spent a lot of time programming, that pushed me out into the mountains. And so I spent a lot of time hiking and doing bike tours, bike packing. And so that, that's kind of the traditional programmer story, I guess. I love spending time. I live in Idaho, so I got the Sawtooth Wilderness out here, and I spend a lot of time, in the mountains, up and about. But also that spurred my interest to do some hiking outside of Idaho and even towards the North Pole. So, but I also recently, in the last few years, have done a deep dive into yoga and seen a lot of symbolism in the various religions, including Christianity. And there's even, of course, ties with that to Saint Germain. But that's a little summary about who I am. And, I cover a little bit of game dev topic on my YouTube. Apologies for that stuff. But there's a lot of good, controversy and conspiracy type of content on here as well.
Well, your thumbnails are fire. They're pretty exciting. Dude, you talk about all my favorite stuff. I love it. I love hidden history. I love secret societies. So I'm very excited to talk to you. Where do you want to start? You brought up Saint Germain, dude. It's one of my favorite topics. I enjoy talking to him. He's an interesting guy, and the place he went and the people he saw and the things he did. Where would you like to start?
Well, I think that's a pretty good place to start. That's the kind of the most recent video series on my channel, and I tried to cover each aspect of his life in a different video. But that stuff's kind of what everybody knows about him already, if you've done any type of research on the guy.
Well, tell us a little bit about him, because we always get new listeners all the time. Can you kind of break him down for anybody who might be listening for the first time?
Absolutely. So, mid 1700s, he shows up out of the middle of nowhere with tons of diamonds, gold, jewelry, wealth, rare paintings, like Rameau's and, really valuable, just everything. He's extraordinarily wealthy, and people don't know, they know he's of lustrous birth, but they have no idea what lineage, what king or kingdom where he's from. And they never figured it out. And to this day, nobody exactly knows who he is. There's an assumption that he is the third son of Prince Francis Rákóczi of Transylvania, and that's basically the closest we can come to verifying that. But there was no third son of Prince Francis Rákóczi, so it remains an enigma of who he is. And of course, there's his age. There's really all kinds of accounts of his age, from 140 to even thousands of years old. And so nobody knows how old he is. And he himself kind of perpetuates this mystery about him being eternally old, and being an alchemist who probably has the Philosopher's Stone. And it seems that he does because of the amount of diamonds and gold that he has. So shows up at the French court mid 1700s and immediately is acquainted with the kings, queens, and all the nobility, which is not something that the regular person would be able to do. So there's a mystery amongst, how old is he, where did he come from, who he is, and his behavior is very eccentric. Nobody basically ever seen him eat. And there's accounts of him performing disappearances, essentially disappearing into thin air. So it brings into question if he was even a human or perhaps a spiritual entity of some type.
And you see him over many different times, right? Like, it's not just like the 1700s. There's a question whether he is around in like the 60s or 70s, right? Where I think I saw videos of him.
Yeah, there's accounts of him from the Theosophical societies saying that he went into inner Earth. So this is, the inner Earth theory coming into play. So he goes into like Agartha or something like that. And then comes back, 100 years later. And so no verified, and, nothing no pure evidence that we can really say he was definitely here in 1960 or 70. But there's a lot of people who claim that and claim to have talked to him either during a meditation. There's really one solid account of that happening where he communicated during a meditation. So, and it's assumed that he was Francis Bacon. In the Masonic and Rosicrucian circles, there's a strong belief that Saint Germain is not necessarily the reincarnation, but the incarnation of Francis Bacon.
What does that mean? What's the difference between reincarnation and incarnation?
So that's where the body swap comes in, which seems like a ridiculous theory where
not in this show.
But good. So if
you're
you
in the right place for that.
Digging back in a yoga text, I find in, for example, I think it was that's slipping my mind which Upanishad it was in, but it talks about how a yogi, once he achieves a certain level of enlightenment, is able to enter another's body. And that's when so there's an example of that from a yogi who was getting really old and he was getting ready to retire, give up his body, and a boy had drowned in a nearby lake while he was in a deep meditation. So essentially the yogi is out of body. A boy dies in a lake and they pull his body out, and the yogi, he basically says that seeing that the body was suitable, he went into it, and then the boy came back to life. And after that, like, his personality was totally different. He didn't really have a strong connection with his parents because obviously the guy knew, like, these aren't my parents. And then at a pretty young age, he took off further north into the Himalayas to, be a yogi up in the mountains. And so there's historical accounts of this happening that are beyond just conspiracy, I guess. And in ancient yoga texts, it says that this is possible. And so that's where I think there's a lot of references to Saint Germain being a yogi. He's found in lotus pose, the yogi position. He's found meditating with a black cloth wrapped around his head, which again is a meditation technique. And he's always going to India. He has a retreat in the Himalayas. So there's Saint Germain is certainly a yogi. And so the idea that he would have learned this method is not out of the realm of, possibility. And that's where I'm coming back to reincarnation and incarnation. A reincarnation, you die. And so people believe in reincarnation, people don't. But if people that do, you die. You come back into a baby's body and you've reincarnated. You really don't have much knowledge of your past life unless you unlock that through meditation, or some people are just kind of born with that gift. There's certainly accounts of people having flashbacks and whatnot from previous lives, but normally you just wouldn't be able to remember your previous life. So an incarnation would be not the death happening. So Francis Bacon does this ancient yogic method of leaving his body and going into the body of, basically, don't ask me, but it sounds like a recently deceased person, where the heart is probably still beating how a heart beats after death. And so I'm sure there's some point when the worms have gotten into it and it's deteriorating, it's no longer possible. But so a reincarnation involves death and a baby being born. An incarnation does not. That it could basically go into a person of any age. And so that also got me thinking about, some of the abductions, missing 411, because there's an interesting aspect of this. Our memory is supposed to be in our brain. So I thought, well, if Francis Bacon incarnates as Saint Germain, so he moves into a younger person's body, Saint Germain's body, how did he bring his memory with him? Because supposedly that's in the gray matter. And I think it's disputable that memory is absolutely stored in the gray matter. However, on Missing 411, there is a common theme of amnesia. And so people get abducted and they come back, they have no memory. And so quick,
for those who don't, again, might be new to the show, welcome. And second, the 411 is this notion that at some point the U.S. government, this is a lot of stuff, but the U.S. government makes a deal with aliens, and the deal is that they could do experiments on human beings, but they could only take them from our national forest. And that's why, you hear the Prophet Eddie Bravo talking about all the time about how there's always this whole thing where they don't want you going in the forest. And what's super interesting about this, David Pilates, is that how you pronounce his last name? Pallades?
Yeah.
Pallades?
You got it right.
We would love to have him on the show. He has an open door to come on anytime he wants. He has done a lot of research on this, and it's really weird because a lot of people who go missing have the same characteristics. Highly intelligent, German descent, and they're just found in weird places.
And a lot of people are like hikers. Like, it's not random people from the city. It's people that like him. Like, he goes missing type of thing. Like, they've
going
been there.
deep into the forest. And, I've had conversations with people that have talked to people that have seen weird shit in the forest. Like,
well, sign me up, because I am a solo thru hiker, and I spend a lot of time in the Pacific Northwest forest of German descent. So I got the camera. I would love to be able to see what happens and come back and report.
It's gonna be some Blair Witch shit where the camera's just and then you're just gonna wait.
Have you seen anything strange while you're out there? Briefly, a little detour. Have you seen anything supernatural or?
Okay, one time. I didn't see it, but one time I was doing 120 miles in the Sawtooth Wilderness and coming back like down the side of a mountain, I heard a loud noise behind me, and I turned around and looked, and a dead tree that was about, it was significant. It was like this big around tree that was 16 feet long with a bunch of branches hanging off of it. Just as I looked around, it smacked the ground, and the branches, the dead branches of it went flying everywhere. But it was so far, like there was nowhere it could have fallen from. And anyways, that's the weirdest thing. I don't think there was a Bigfoot behind me, but I just have no explanation for how in the world that, this thing was big. There's no way I could have picked it up and throw it, but I didn't see it flying through the air, but I heard something. As soon as I turned around, it like smacked the ground. Branches went flying off. And anyways, that was the strangest thing that's happened to me out there. So
you didn't even see where it might have fallen from, meaning it didn't fall. You couldn't see like its roots and dirt all over the place.
No, there was like it had been fallen over, so there was no roots connected to it. And but it was where it hit was just complete rocks. The nearest trees were like 20 feet. I stopped and videotaped, so it's on my channel, the aftermath of where the tree hit. And you can see that the nearest trees are like 20 feet up. So that one really blew my mind. I just was like, where did that tree fall from? So that was
that's some weird shit.
That was a weird one, but yeah, nothing. That's the strangest it's got for me. I love it out there though, because I've seen a lot of bear and things like that, and every time I see a bear, it's super exciting. And
I would have a complete different reaction. I would instantly shit my pants, and then I would cry, and then I would run. What do you do?
I used to get scared and grab my gun, and the first time I seen one, I actually shot a bear banger, makes a little popping noise, and because I had food on me and I didn't want them to follow me. But now I've seen so many of them now that I just keep walking. I don't stop walking, because all they do is they're just like a dog. When a dog that's spooked, all they do is they get spooked and then they run out of the bush away from the noise. I haven't seen them do anything except that. So they're not too.
Seen bears before?
What's that?
Just driving, not on foot. No, I've seen black bears in North Carolina, but on driving through the mountains and stuff. Never on foot. No.
Yeah, I don't know if I've ever seen a bear.
Got bobcats on
they're
property,
just,
but not bears.
They just jumping out of the bush, somewhere near you'll see bear poop on the trail, and you're like, okay, and then next thing you know, something jumps out of the bush and runs. So that's, yeah. And when I was in Canada, they told me I was in the area where grizzly bears will mate with the polar bears and create the hybrids. That. So that was, I never seen any of them, but I was in the area with those type of grizzly and possibly hybrids.
Yeah, it's really like cool. The black bear hooks up with the polar bear. I go, it totally makes sense that the black bear would shag the fattest, whitest bear and have little Blake Griffins.
Yeah.
Okay, that was Sam's hybrids. Jokes for today. So our belief here is Francis Bacon, was he a Freemason? What was he that you felt like he could have this power?
So he's basically the modern father of Freemasonry. He not by himself, but under his direction, he wrote the King James Bible of 1611. And there's at least in my opinion, from my research, he, along with another small team, wrote the Shakespeare plays essentially at the same time. And the Shakespeare plays led to a change in the mindset of the people that the kings and queens are incarnations of God. And instead of that they're just regular humans with flaws. And that really changed, was the time in history where we started changing from these monarchies to democracies. And if you look at the Shakespeare plays, they really played a key role in that and changing the public's perception of the royalty.
Wow. That's so interesting. The earliest psyops.
Yeah, I mean, that's a fact. And it worked, and that's why they wanted to kill whoever wrote the Shakespeare plays, and they couldn't, track them down. Francis Bacon hit it well enough with the Shakespeare name, and that the actor from Stratford really had no, he didn't write those plays. So, but Francis Bacon was, basically established Freemasonry as it is, and was the Grand Master of these modern Masonic orders as it exists today. Freemasonry existed before then, but it, Rosicrucianism, Knights Templar, stuff like that. But the modern Freemasonry with the lodges, the first Masonic lodge and all that, was established essentially by Francis Bacon. And so he supposedly died, but there's, in Masonic circles, there's nobody believes that he died when it says that he did, and that he had a feigned death. And so the question about his feigned death is if he just was an old man after that, or if he incarnated as somebody else, and that would probably be Saint Germain.
Who's gonna love this episode? The fittest flat earther who got mad at us because we did talk about how Jimi Hendrix is Morgan Freeman.
Yeah.
He just really laid into me because I didn't want to believe that one interesting fact that I don't know anyone else ever talks about.
You're gatekeeping.
But I'm open-minded to all of it. I think all this is 100% possible. I mean, so many kids go missing all the time.
All of it's possible, but all of it ain't happening. Like, he seems to think all of it is happening. Do you get what I'm saying? Like, all of it is possible, but all of it ain't true. It can't all
No, my
be
problem with him is, like, if you don't believe that one idea,
that's what I mean.
You're there to manipulate.
It's a litmus test.
And it's just like
ridiculous.
Everybody has different degrees of conspiracies that they believe in if you're a conspiracy theorist. And what we do is we cut each other down because we don't see the world the way we want. The world doesn't see the world the way we want them to see it. So if you don't see it the way I see it, that means you're controlled opposition, and I don't agree with that. Guys, listen, the crypto market is crazy. Those who get in early can cash out big, and there's no better place to find out what crypto you should be investing in than our good friend James McMahon and Copy My Crypto. Let me tell you about Copy My Crypto. Guys, does it piss you off to watch crypto fly up in price for over a decade and you've still done nothing about it? It makes sense. Crypto is complicated and really boring. Well, here's the good news. You don't need to know a thing about crypto to make money like so many have. The CopyMyCrypto.com membership site shows you the exact cryptos that YouTuber James McMahon personally owns, which means you just copy him. It's like having a big brother that knows exactly what he's doing. You don't need to know a thing you don't need to know a thing about crypto or how to invest. You just simply copy along. So let me tell you about James. He runs the Crypto with James YouTube channel, which has so many more subscribers, and this says 54,000. It's way past that. Okay, he's got a ton of subscribers. In the summer of 2020, he told his viewers to buy 26 cryptos. Had you put $100 in each one, it went on to be worth over 123,000. Of the 26 cryptos, his top pick of the year, the one he singled out, Phantom, went up 692 times. That happens, man. That one call alone has retired a number of people, including guys in their 20s and 30s. Remember, This is public knowledge. You can go to YouTube and verify yourself. So if you'd like to join the over 2,800 members who copy James, then pause what you're doing and head over to copymycrypto.com/tinfoil. That's copymycrypto.com/TFH. Okay. You'll not only find proof of everything I've said, but our viewers get full access for just $1. Yes, you missed out on crypto. Buy a little bit here and there, buy a little bit here and there. But there's over 2 million other cryptos. Do you really think you miss out on all of them? Nope. Guys, don't waste time. Go to the site and read it. Once again, that's copymycrypto.com/TFH. It's ended money worries for so many. It just may do the same for you. Guys, we are in dire straits right now. The world population is plummeting, and the only way to fix it is to hump our way out, okay? Rock hard boners. Let me tell you about Blue Chew and why they love America. Let me tell you about Blue Chew. Listen, guys, you can have better sex with Blue Chew. Blue Chew is the original brand offering chewable tablets for better sex. And starting now, Blue Chew is offering a combo so strong it will knock your socks off and your neighbor's socks off. That's a lot of socks, okay? You'll have to move to another town with all the amount of noise you'll be making. Blue Chew Max has arrived, and it combines active ingredients of Viagra and Cialis into one chewable. That combo acts fast and lasts, okay? Get in it to win it, guys. It's really that simple. If you want rock hard boners that just keep the streets safe in the neighborhood, okay? Nobody's committing crimes if we're all getting mega dick downs, okay? Mega dick downs, less crime. That's what I've learned, okay? It's really that simple. If you want great sex, it's just a click away. Sign up, BlueChew.com, consult with one of their licensed medical providers, and once you're approved, you'll receive your prescription within days. Blue Chew's tablets are made in the USA and prepared, shipped directly to your door. The best part, it's all done online. That means no visit to the doctor's office, no awkward conversations, and no waiting in line at the pharmacy, okay? So here's what we need you to do. Make life easier by getting rock hard and discover your options at BlueChew.com. And we got a special offer, a special deal for our tinfoil hat boners, okay? You want a rock hard boner, or you like to see a rock hard boner, okay? Try your first month of Blue Chew free when you use the promo code tinfoil. Just pay $5 shipping. That's promo code tinfoil. Visit BlueChew.com for more details and important safety information. And we thank Blue Chew for sponsoring this podcast.
Yeah, that's what I don't appreciate in the truth community. I've recently had flat earthers on my channel calling me out for not being a flat earther, and I say, well, I actually have flat earth theories on my channel. I don't say I believe one or the other because I don't personally know. I've done a lot of experimentation, and because of astronomical refraction and all this stuff, it gets extremely complicated and tricky. So I don't know if it's a flat earth sphere or an inner earth, but they're all interesting to me. Flat earth is the most interesting to me because worlds beyond the poles, and like the background behind me, you got the Truman Show. I think that the Truman Show is a depiction of Truman leaving, going beyond Antarctica, and that the door here essentially is the summer gate where you go past Antarctica and you would find land beyond the poles or different continents that we don't know about, which are essentially the same continents of the inner earth. So whether it's an inner earth or a flat earth, I guess it doesn't matter to me. I just, because the idea of the lands beyond is what intrigues me. So the Hollywood stuff, I just don't, it doesn't interest me because I don't understand, I don't have a personal, I also don't watch movies and stuff. So I don't know when they say that, if you're talking about or I heard one about Elvis recently, and Elvis was the Statue of Liberty and whatnot. And I'm
not against that either. I mean, like, it could be. They're all Luciferian and whoever the Statue of Liberty, whatever dude that is, I'm open-minded to it. I think especially in these days, good luck with facts.
Yeah, that's another one. You're going to, if any, with Saint Germain, I've seen a lot of thumbnails on YouTube and whatnot trying to compare him to Hollywood actors. And I'm just like, well, I don't see why would he want to get himself on a Hollywood screen. I don't, so anyway, I guess I don't watch enough movies to know about that stuff.
You're blessed, dude. You're blessed. I had to sit with my daughter. I was lucky enough to sit with my daughter and watch Minecraft. And you're like, oh, there's a lot of weirdness in that. Real quick, if you go to SamTripoli.com, you look at events. I don't know when this comes out. This might come out tomorrow, might come out the next week. May 1st, I'm in Burbank. May 10th, I'm at the Stand-Up Club. June 13th, I am at the Tinfoil Hat Comedy Night, Cleveland, Pittsburgh. And then more dates to come. I know I'm going to be in San Diego as well, but I'm getting some new bookings. Looking like Boston's going to be happening very soon. Obviously, we're going to be back at Brook. That will be up by the time you see this episode. So if you want to see me, I'm coming. If you have cities you want me to come to, let me know. And I will get this guy I'm working with to try to find somewhere to go there if I think I could get enough people there. So you have put your money where your mouth is, and you've actually tried to reach the North Pole and meet Santa Claus. What?
Yeah.
Why have you wanted to do this, and what was that like? What would you go through?
Well, all right. You go back to a lot of old maps, right? And they have Hyperborea on them, the 4 islands at the North Pole. So there's let's see, maybe I'll share my can I share a screen on here?
Hold on just a second. I'll set it up for you. Just one moment.
Might as well throw a few maps up while I talk about them. But anyways, we got 4 islands at the North Pole, Hyperborea, and throughout history,
you're good now.
They've told us that not only are there 4 islands there with trees and people and a whole, but that it's good weather, and they explain in one of them kind of how that's even possible. So I'll go ahead and share my. Let's see, get the right one. There we go. Okay, so yeah, I guess gotta open with paint. Sorry about that. But we can see 4 islands of Hyperborea here. One of them looks more like Greenland, and you could see him hunting, look like a polar bear.
Hunting something. Angry rabbit or something.
Yeah, a hare. It looks like a hare, actually. You're right. But the other ones don't have the ice on them. So all the maps from back then, here's America. We've got Terra Incognita, the green land up at the very top. And there's, of course, the famous Mercator projection that has the 4 islands of Hyperborea. And the first person to be able to confirm that Hyperborea was even was there or not would have been Peary in 1904, 1906. And here's a description of it. Behind these mountains and beyond the north wind there dwells, if we can believe it, a happy race of people called the Hyperboreans, who live to an extreme old age and are famous for legendary marvels. Here are believed to be the hinges on which the firmament turns. Excuse me.
That's interesting. What year is this from? This that you're reading from?
This one, I've got the source on my channel. I don't have it right here.
Okay.
But if you just type any of these quotes in, you'll be able to pull that book right up. But yeah, it explains that here is the hinges of the firmament. So, which makes sense as the North Pole is exactly right in the middle. And it's the extreme limits of the revolution of the stars. It's a genial region with a delightful climate and exempt from every harmful blast. The homes of the natives are the woods and the groves. They worship gods and in congregations. So anyways, that's just one there's a whole bunch of historical descriptions of the.
It might be Pliny the Elder, is what it looks like here. This is.
That sounds right.
Yeah, it's his natural history, I think. That's what it says.
Yep.
You can find that anywhere online.
Greeks described a fertile paradise called Hyperborea located beyond the birthplace of the north wind, and some medieval Christian theologians claimed that the Antichrist inhabited a gloomy realm in the far north. So they're saying like maybe the Antichrist is there. So, but anyways, the first person to be able to confirm if the Hyperborean Islands are there or not would have been Peary in 1906. And if you look into his claim into reaching the North Pole, first of all, he's a Freemason. Second of all, there's no credible evidence that he ever got to the North Pole at all. And the picture that he took as evidence is complete hogwash. There's really not too many people nowadays who actually believe that Peary got to the North Pole. And that essentially leaves the next, other than Amundsen in a balloon, who supposedly went over to the North Pole in a balloon, and may have, but I don't know if he's seen islands down there or not, or if in a balloon he would have, maybe even been able to see them. And so the next one is the snowmobile crew who went in 1972, and those are the first guys essentially in history who would have been able to confirm that Hyperborea was there or not. So,
and what happened to them?
Well, they made it to the North Pole as per, I think they were using a sextant. I don't even think they were using a sextant, but they should have been. I think they probably were to verify their location. But they did take snowmobiles, got to supposedly 90 degrees north, and there's nothing there but sea ice, and an airplane landed on sea ice and picked them up. So they didn't have to snowmobile back. It's 400 miles from where they left land, and they had to snowmobile 400 miles over the ocean on sea ice.
So, based on what you've studied and what you believe, what do you think I'm not asking you for flat earth or anything like that, but I'm asking you, do you think we're in a puddle? Do you think we're at the center of it? Do you think the North Pole's the center of it? We're outside of it, and then there's an ice wall around it. Is the ice wall around us, the North Pole behind that ice pole, and then this is the extra land? Flat Earth Dave, who has been on a ton of times, extraterrestrial, extraterritory. What are your thoughts on that?
I want to find out. That's why I want to go. I really am 50-50, which might make people upset, but here, my problem with strict flat earth theory, which I've researched a ton, and I even have my own flat earth theory that's 100% original called horizontal refraction, which explains why pictures of the earth from space have a curved shape to them. It's if you have a prism at home and you look through a prism, you're going to see a curved shape that looks exactly like Earth from space, and the physics are the same. Light is traveling through a media where it is following a curved path, and that's what happens. But that's called horizontal refraction theory that's covered on my channel. So I love the flat earth theory because of the land beyond, and even without flat earth, there's the possibility of Hyperborea at the North Pole. So the problem that I've found with the flat earth theory is that I haven't been able to come up with a valid theory that explains why that happens, is the southern polar star, Sigma Octans. So that it's not the 24-hour sun. Roald Amundsen, I believe his account. I have a copy of his field journal. He recorded a 24-hour sun. He's not a Freemason. I'm for sure. I haven't seen it myself, but that's not a question of mine. My question of mine is about the southern polar star, Sigma Octans, and how it goes around in a circle at the South Pole. That with the flat Earth map, which is a polar azimuthal equidistant projection. So with that azimuthal equidistant projection, I personally don't understand how we can see sigma octans the way it is at the, in the southern night sky. So without an explanation for that, I can't, lock in 100% on the flat Earth theory, because I can't. There's no explanation for that, and from what I've seen on flat Earth theory, nobody has an answer for how that is a possibility.
We just had a giant flat Earth event where a bunch of former guests, people I've been on their shows, have gone to Antarctica and saw the 24-hour sun. They said that kills the flat Earth theory. Do you believe that?
No, it doesn't. Because for me, the 24-hour sun wouldn't have done it. Sigma octans would, but they're both the same thing. I guess sigma octans you can see when it's dark, and the sun you can see when it's 24 hours of light. So they're essentially more or less the same thing. But sigma octans, the way that it moves around the southern pole, defies the polar azimuthal equidistant map. There's no explanation for how that could possibly work. But then again, light that's traveling through the atmosphere is doing things that are very hard to comprehend for our mind. We think that light leaves the sun and it hits the earth and it just followed a straight line. That's not a fact. That's how Eratosthenes has proven that the earth is a sphere. With Eratosthenes' method, you're assuming that the light from the sun is following a perfectly straight line, and that the shadows, therefore, you can do a geometric calculation based on that. But that's not the way it works. That light is following a curve through the atmosphere, because light that is traveling through any media that has a refractive index is following a curve, and the atmosphere gets more and more dense the closer you get to the surface. So, long story short, a light wave coming from the sun to the earth, if it keeps following a curve, it will complete a whole circle, and then what optical illusion is produced?
Briefly, you're saying that they did see the sun, though? I mean, you're not saying that they saw this other star. You saw if they saw 24 hours of light when they. Oh,
I think they did. They had to. If you go to Antarctica, you'll see 24 hours of
the sun.
You'll see a 24-hour sun.
I'm just making sure you weren't saying it wasn't the sun, because they matched the sunspots to the sun as it was observed in other parts of the world to confirm that they were.
Oh yeah, I'm sure it's the sun. There's theories that it's a reflection or something like it, whatever. But yeah, I'm convinced based on, for my personal research, Roald Amundsen's sextant observations that he took when he was at the South Pole in 1911. And I looked at those sextant observations, and 4 signatures on them from men who all are not Freemasons. And that definitely is the sun going around them in a perfect circle, which is the evidence that he was also at the South Pole. Because right when you're at the South Pole, of course, the sun's going to go around you in a perfect circle. So
let me ask you something, Johnny, and anybody else who wants to be skeptic. Let me ask,
skeptical of what?
Is it possible to go, if the sun, if we're in between the sun, there's a space between the sun and Earth, shouldn't space be way brighter?
I don't understand. There's nothing. The brightness around is all particles reflecting the light. There's a void. As presented by modern science, space is a void. So there's nothing for the light to reflect off of. That's why the planets are illuminated, because that's why Pluto's such a pale, thing in the night sky. You can't see it, obviously, with the naked eye. But that's why certain objects that aren't stars, of course.
But I'm also putting forth a theory that the reason why every single object in the night sky, so that's above the horizon line, the sun, the moon, the planets, stars, everything is a circle, with the exception of Saturn with its rings. But then again, its rings are just another circle. So every planet, star, everything is a complete circle, not a sphere. Now it's assumed to be a sphere. I understand that. But to me, I see a circle. And so again, it's difficult to wrap your mind around this concept, but as a light wave is traveling through space, it's through our atmosphere, an atmosphere beyond 6,200 miles where the exosphere ends. Then you're just in pure space and there's no more refraction. But within 6,200 miles of Earth, light is following a curve, and a curve is defined by a radius of curvature. A radius is a circle. So if a light wave goes through the atmosphere far enough, if the refractive index is high enough, then the light wave will complete a complete circle. And essentially, I'm put in a theory that's the reason why everything that we are seeing in the night sky is a circle. And so for that, I'm not necessarily signing up for the belief that all of the planets out there are spherical masses.
What about the ones that rotate? We see different sides of them, because there's some that, we see in enough detail to observe different characteristics that come around. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Yeah, that could be. So if what I'm saying is possible, then we're seeing a circle.
Like Jupiter, for instance, it rotates.
This circle is also
hours.
Can be seen for like New Mexico when Felix is doing his Red Bull dive from the stratosphere.
Camera, though, right?
Well, it doesn't really. It is a GoPro camera.
It's a fisheye camera, yeah.
But even without the fisheye, if you were to look around like this, everything that you can see with your eyes is a circle. The reflection in his helmet is a good visual of that. So what I'm saying is that the circle that we see could be land, distant land, perhaps land beyond the pole. So when we see Mars or Jupiter, we're seeing a snapshot of land on land that's beyond the pole. And the rotation essentially could be a movement in this manner. So how does that exact rotation line up? I'm not sure on that. So again, this is just a fun theory that aligns up with something that I really enjoy, even if it's as a sci-fi or a real curiosity of me, which is the lands beyond the pole and the possibility of there being more than 7 continents.
So you wanted to become the first person to attempt to get at 45 degrees to 95 degree human power?
That's my new goal. Yep. Because when I first went, I called it
Destination.
What does that mean? Well, nobody has ever gone from 45 degrees north to the North Pole, human powered. So the guys in 1972 did it with snowmobiles, and Borge Ausland has crossed the North Pole from Norway to Canada. So he was the first person to cross the North Pole solo. But no one has ever gone from 45 degrees to 90 degrees north, human powered. And so that
just hiking.
Well, human powered includes bike and possibly canoe if it's the right season up in the northern territories of Canada and Saskatchewan. Well, I'm sorry, not canoe. I'm sorry about that mistake. Bicycle. And then, so when I get to Wollaston Lake, all the roads there's no more roads. And the area from there, most people canoe up to Baker Lake, Nunavut. However, I would have to ski. So it's got to be done sometime when there's snow up there, which is most of the year. So anyways, not hiking, but skiing and bicycle. So I can bicycle to essentially 58 degrees north. And from 58 degrees north to 90 degrees north, it would be skiing.
Okay, so you're going to bike on the roads, and once the roads end, you're going to ski the rest of the way.
Yep, that is what I want to do with with my life, more or less, is what it's come down to.
Hey, man,
because
I like it.
because after that, I would love to make an attempt at crossing Antarctica from 170 degrees west, the Bay of Whales, over to 10 degrees east. So basically following a straight line across Antarctica. Because to me, that's what is going to answer the question of spherical Earth or not. If you can make that journey, which some people have claimed to do, Borgel's land, for example, then certainly the Earth is, in my opinion, has to be a sphere, because with the flat Earth theory, if you cross Antarctica, you would eventually end up on the other side of some unknown beach that's heading off towards lands beyond the pole. So, and that's what I think Truman Show is depicting. I don't know why Truman Show is showing that, but there's so many clues in there about his, like, where he's going is Antarctica. And then he leaves, like, and goes beyond, Antarctica. So that's what I want to do is, in my opinion, interpretation of the Truman Show is going to Antarctica and finishing that crossing. But first, the North Pole to check for Hyperborea.
Hey guys, summer is just around the corner, and the folks at Mint Mobile have a hot take. Getting a summer bod is out, and getting a saving bod is in. Okay, this spring and summer, we want skimpy wireless bills and fat wallets. And with premium wireless plans for just $15 a month, you can have both without breaking a sweat or the bank. Okay, I got my above phone. I popped this right in. I'm cooking with gas. Okay, I'm off the grid, and it's clear, okay? It's nice and clear, and that's why I love Mint Mobile.
You must be saving a lot, too.
I'm saving so much. It's unbelievable.
Say bye-bye to your overpriced wireless plans, jaw-dropping monthly bills, and unexpected overages. Mint Mobile is here to rescue you. All plans come with high-speed data and unlimited talk and text delivered on the nation's largest 5G network. Use your own phone with any Mint Mobile plan and bring your own phone number along with all your existing contacts. Ditch overpriced wireless and get 3 months of premium wireless service from Mint Mobile for just $15 a month.
Wow. So listen, this year, skip breaking a sweat and breaking the bank. Get your summer savings and shop premium wireless plans at Mint, MINT, mobile.com/tinfoil. That's Mint Mobile, mobile.com/tinfoil.
Upfront payment of $45 for a 3-month 5 GB plan required, equivalent to $15 a month. New customer offer for the first 3 months only. Then full price plan options available. Taxes and fees extra. See Mint Mobile for details.
Now, you tried something before and possibly you were under-geared?
Yeah. Well, I did as much research as I could, and there's not that much out there for polar exploration and the exact gear that you need. And I guess some of it just has to be basically hand built, more or less, like the modifications you have to make to your skis. You can't buy skis like that. You gotta hand modify them and make all this gear yourself. So the reason why when you're searching for like gear for Arctic exploration, there's a lot of times you just can't buy it. You basically have to make it or modify it yourself.
What do you hunt? Is that how you survive? You hunt?
Nope. It's a possibility if it's legal, especially with the Arctic hares up there. That would be the best source of food, kind of, if you're on the go, is trapping those Arctic hares. But you just don't have time to sit there and ice fish and I don't think you have to get special licenses and stuff to hunt the caribou.
How long should it have taken you if you would have gone through?
Well, a good 6-8 months, probably a year. And because there's going to be places in the far north Canada where I'm probably going to be stuck, like until the conditions on the sea ice are just right. Because when you leave land at Ward Hunt Island. So I was heading basically to Ward Hunt Island, Canada. It's the furthest north piece of land you can get that a little tiny airplane can land on, to like do a food resupply. And so from Ward Hunt Island to the North Pole, you got 400 miles, and that's all on the ocean. So you got to sleep, on the ocean on a piece of ice that's floating around. And so the snowmobiler guys did that, and they said it was absolutely terrifying and horrible trying to sleep on the ice like that. But it's possible, and they did it. And so did Bourget Ausland has done it a lot of times. So anyways, you got that 400 miles, and the sea ice is moving around. So you don't know exactly how far you're going to go in a day, because if you go 10 miles forward, you might get the ice might go back 2 miles. Crazy. And so
that is crazy.
So now you've gone 8 miles for the day, not 10. So it's really unknown how long it would take, but basically, hopefully 10 to 20 miles per day on ski. And so it should, like Bourget Ausland's time is basically like 30 to 40 days from the pole for crossing the pole. So you're out there on the ocean for, probably a couple months.
That's
if you're going to go to the pole and then come back.
Crazy.
I saw the video of you being arrested by the Mounties. What did they get you for again? Illegal crossing, is that right?
Yep. The first time I drove my car up, and I didn't have the human powered goal.
Get on the ground, lay down in the freeze.
Yeah, because you got like a 22 in your pocket, right? That's what you told him.
Yeah, but he didn't know about that. He just pulled out his gun.
Did you have a rifle on you too? Because I thought I heard him say something, or it was just that. That was it.
No, that was it. Just it's like the world's smallest 22. It fits in the palm of your hand, and it really was just a noisemaker in case. A wolf or something's trying to come around enough to scare him away. It's probably not going to kill him, but.
Yeah. And what'd you tell him you were doing? Because I'm sure hey, I'm just hiking, I'm just exploring, and they were no, we're not having it.
Well, I mean, they believe me. They just said that I have to go over to the actual border crossing and go through legally. So
how did they find you? Or is that drone?
Just like they find illegals. Just like they find illegal Mexican illegals. They got like drones, and they got like
I guess. But the first time I went, I didn't have any problems. The problem is I had a $40,000 debt in order to get my passport, so I didn't have a passport. Now with firefighting, I've got all that taken care of, and I just a couple days ago got my passport in the mail, so I finally get to go to Canada legally. But the first two times I didn't have a passport, so the first time I drove, it was no problem, and it's really strange that I could drive up no problem, but when I rode my bike, it was they stopped me, I guess, because I was slower, I guess. But
I mean, imagine being a cop who does that. Like, how many days, weeks, months go by, nothing happens, and then like one guy shows up, and this is like DEFCON 1.
It's a Super Bowl for these.
Yeah, it's like, let's go. Right. That's what we've been waiting for.
Yeah, that's what I said. That's the way
that's
I
why he pulled out the gun. He's like, I can finally use this.
He tells him, he's like, I don't want to have to shoot you, so just keep your hands out, lay down the ground.
Yeah. Lay in the cold.
Now, to be fair, illegal entry is not a crime in Canada, so I did not commit any crimes. I'm not trying to promote nothing or do it. I just didn't have a passport. For good grief, get your passport first. But okay. I didn't know how long I was going to be on this earth, and I didn't know how long it was going to be till I had a passport, and I wanted to go to the North Pole, so I went. I feel like as a human being, I should be allowed to go into the cold north, and but I've paid my dues. I've paid my $40K. Now I can. As long as they're not mad about my...
Sorry, you can't get a passport if you have debt?
Federal debt...
No, he said he went and...
Federal debt, taxes, and backpack for child support.
Which, to be fair, my son lived with me the whole time. It's I'm not going to get into that, but
Of course.
Yeah.
I didn't owe anything, to be honest. And that's why I didn't pay in it. But regardless, I got it taken care of. I got my passport now.
Fuck yeah, there we go.
Respect.
So now I can actually apply for a legitimate expedition, which allows you to bring a long gun, so it could bring something for polar bear defense. So,
damn, bro. Listen, we don't want you to bring guns in, but we get it. There's polar bears out there, and they're hooking up with black bears, and they're making Blake Griffin bears.
Well, when I was up there, the Dene locals, the Dene, they're not Inuit, but they're just south of the Inuit, the native people. And I was talking with some of them, and they told me about a 70-year-old man who had come up a couple years before me, pulling a sled with his skis, and that he was headed up north to Baker Lake, kind of the same route I was going. And a grizzly had followed him for 4 or 5 days, and after that, he had to push the SOS button on his device because he didn't have a gun. And I was like, for good grief, man, you got a 70-year-old guy up there, a grizzly's tracking him down for 5 days. He doesn't have a gun, and he doesn't care for the first 4 days. But on the 5th day, he's like, nope, I better call for help. Anyways, it gave me hope that, hey, you're probably more safe amongst these wildlife than you initially think.
Than those border patrol guys who are just we need a reason to pull this gun.
Oh yeah. Let
me get it out.
Hey, and they're doing their job, and the other thing is, with Canada not being allowed to, well, I better they're doing their job, and I didn't play by the rules now, and they so anyways, this time I'm going to go up. Now the first time I went up, I had another run-in with RCMP. They had actually come to my tent because the Ice Road truckers had seen my tent, and they thought that there was a frozen body inside, because apparently we've never seen anybody in a tent up there before, which boggles my mind, because like the 70-year-old guy, he must have had a tent. But anyways, the Ice Road truckers had called in my tent, and so RCMP showed up at my tent when I was on Ice Road 905 on my way from La Ronge to Walston Lake.
That's so crazy, dude. How many different lives there are. Someone is an Ice Road trucker.
There's a whole show about that.
Yeah, but that's just crazy. I had a friend I went to high school, Andy Race. He was on the Deadliest Catch, and he died in a hotel, but he's a wild kid. But that was crazy that's what he got into. The place you go and the people you see. So listen, I don't want to jump too quickly off this, but we got some great stuff to talk about here. I see, we always ask the guests to send us notes about what they want to talk about, and I see something I really like. Two of my favorite things, Tartarian and Christianity. What are your thoughts on that?
Okay, so this is a well-researched topic for myself that I enjoy talking about. So here we go. The Tartarians, we can trace the lost 10 tribes of Israel.
Oh, here we go.
Oh yeah. up into Tartaria. So the book of 4 Esdras, which is a non-canonical biblical book, talks about how the lost 10 tribes are going to leave Israel, and they're being led out by the king, and they're led captive to the other side of the Euphrates River and taken to another land that is called Arzareth. And so you got to looking on maps, like where is Arzareth? And of course it is located in Tartaria. So let's see here. There's a lot of historical references for the different areas of Tartaria that they went to, but most of them, the one that I'm going to focus on, of course, right here is Arzareth. So let me pull up a map of that real quick. I'll put it on a screen. Okay, there we go. So here we got Tartaria and Arzareth. And here in Latin, it talks about the 10 tribes went up here and they became what is called Scythians. And eventually, at some point, they were called Gothans. So of the book of Esdras, the Arzareth, where the 10 tribes went, of course, right up here across the Bering Strait from North America. And so there's also a lot of evidence that they crossed from Arzareth over the Bering Strait into America. And in my opinion, that's where we get some of the Tartarian type of architecture in America, such as at the San Francisco World Fair and the Chicago World Fair, all over North America, Omaha.
So hold on. Are you showing us where Tartaria is?
Yes. All right. Here we got Tartaria right here. So, and Arzareth is right here. There's a mention up here as 4 Esdras, chapter 13. So the book of 4 Esdras, which right here talks about it's actually 9.5 tribes, but the 10 tribes which are led out of the land, so out of Israel, and they're brought to the other side of the Euphrates River to a land led captive to another land. And the other land where they're taken to is called Arzareth. So that's right here, Arsaf correctly, Arzareth. And so this is biblical saying that when the Tartarians leave Israel, the lost 10 tribes, that they go to Arzareth. And there's a miraculous river being held back for them, just like when Moses was crossing the Red Sea. So it says here, they entered in a narrow passage through the Euphrates River, for the Most High then brought a miracle for them, where he held back the sources of the river until they passed over, so that they might proceed to dry land. And it was a journey of 1.5 years, and they went to a region called Arsaf at the end of the world, Arzareth. Now, the elder Pliny, like we had talked about earlier in reference to Hyperborea, Pliny also talks about this area at the end of the world, and this has essentially been identified with the Russia's side of the Bering Strait, which used to be called Arsaf. Correctly, it says down here Arzareth. So when we find that on the map, that's exactly where it belongs, is at the end of the, like where the elder Pliny the Elder describes as the end of the world, where it would then cross over to the new world, America. So, and here's another map. This is a map of Tartaria. So the whole area here is basically Russia, of modern day Russia, more or less. And up in the upper northeastern corner, Cathay, which is a region of Tartary. And Tinduk is up here as well. I actually don't think Arzareth is on that map. So once, and here's the interesting part about this. It says in the book of Esdras, it talks about the end of the world. It says, so once they've made it across the dry land, it was a journey of 1.5 years, they made it to Arzareth, and they would dwell there until the last time. And then when they're about to come again, the Most High will hold back the sources of the Euphrates River, so they might be able to pass over. And so it says that that's going to happen at what it calls the last time, or what Revelations will be talking about as the the events of the end of the world.
And this book is called The Four Ezras?
Four Esdras. Yep. It's a non-canonical book of the Bible. So it's Apocrypha. In other words, something that they don't want you to read. So the interesting thing here, Genghis Khan is a Tartarian.
Whoa.
What? Go ahead.
No, I just said, whoa, I haven't heard that Genghis Khan was Tartarian.
Genghis Khan, yes, you
So
can. I mean,
Asians
that's
are
even
Tartarian.
on. Genghis Khan was a Tartarian, and that's essentially the book that I have on the screen right now is talking about that.
Hold on. Does that say Anthony the Armenian?
Yes.
Whoa, my people are Tartarian.
Represent.
That's right. That's right. And the Tartarians, not only that, but they're Christian. So here it's talking about Genghis Khan. So Genghis Khan, who is a Tartarian, puts an order in that all Tartarians should believe and obey the immortal God. And the immortal God that this is talking about is Christianity. The pull up the Christianity references there. Here we go. So Genghis Khan being a Tartarian.
And can I buy this book?
It's hard to find, and it's not just a book. This is like 20 books. So this is a set called Purchase His Pilgrim, or Purchase His Pilgrimage, and it's a set of like 20 books. So there are some. That would be an amazing set to have. But it says here we're talking about the son of Genghis Khan, and he puts it into place that the Tartarians, here we go, that they're going to be baptized. Here we go. Number one, he desired that the emperor and all of his people would be baptized in the Christian faith, leaving all other sects. Secondly, that there would be a perpetual peace and friendship established between the Christians and the Tartarians. Thirdly, that all the countries which the Tartarians either had conquered or should conquer, churches and churchmen, and it goes on to explain that they are going to, fourthly, deliver and free the Holy Land. So right now it's in the hands of Mohammedists is kind of what the term that they have for them in here, but out of the hands of them back to, so restore the Holy Land to the Christians. So regardless, in my opinion, history's view of Genghis Khan is completely incorrect because, one, he's a Tartarian. Two, they are on a conquest and they're all being baptized in the Christian faith, and they're on like I said, a conquest to restore the Holy Land out of the hands of the Saracens, or the I think that's essentially Islam, and restore it to the Christians. So, and I don't want to get into the Islam Christianity. I think that's a bunch of sidetracked stuff that we shouldn't be fighting over that. But the Tartarians, it says here, are Christians. And the book 4 Ezra says at the end times, God's going to hold back the source of the river. So right here, Genghis Khan comes around like 1162, the date we're not quite sure, sometime around the late 1100s. Maybe 1162 is the year he was born. And anyways, he sees a vision of a white horse. The white horse is mentioned right here. I'm going to get to that later because it's tied into Revelation. But Genghis Khan is leaving Arzareth. They have been trapped up in Arzareth. If you look at a map, you've got the Great Wall. Here's the Great Wall holding them in. The Great Wall goes at the southern border of Cathay. So that's where essentially it goes from Tartaria to China, is the Great Wall being the border. And there's a story that Alexander has built the Great Wall to hold the Tartarians in because they are Gog and Magog of the end times.
What?
Absolutely. And they are actually, if the map that I got on the screen, you can see Mongol. So we're talking about Genghis Khan, and right under that, it's Magog. It's saying that this is this Mongol who we call Magog. And Gog is right here. V and G. I haven't been able to figure out who that is, but it's essentially Mongols. It's right next to Mongol and Magog, and here is Gog. So when Revelation talks about Gog and Magog, this is the area that it's talking about.
Oh, snaps.
It's in Arzareth, and they're talking about Mongols.
But is this modern day China right now? Or is this Mongolia? Where are we?
Russia.
China.
We are in here. I'll pull up Google Earth real quick.
That's
So
like
it's
Siberia,
Siberia, and it belonged to Russia.
Bro,
so,
this tracks too. This tracks so much, man. How many times have people said that, they think that the center Tartaria was out of Russia? I mean, we've heard that a lot. And that, this whole thing with Khazaria, the War of Khazarians versus the Tartarians. We've talked about that a lot back in the day. This totally tracks with that.
Now, I'm also going to mention that the amount of time that they are being held in captivity is essentially, it seems to be 1,000 years. So I know there's a lot of talk about the little season.
Oh.
So here's one reference to 1,000-year period. Well, let me pull it up here. But the Tartars are the Tartarians, the lost 10 tribes of Israel, after they've gone up into Arzareth. There's essentially 1,000-year period that they've been held captive and being held behind the Great Wall. And when they finally broke out of the Great Wall is when Genghis Khan starts his conquest. Damn. So I'm losing my reference here, but we can remember from the book of Esdras that it says that after the lost 10 tribes go to Arzareth, which we know that they were there until about 1200. So that the 1,000-year period basically is like 200 to, I'm not saying that the lost 10 tribes arrived 200 years after Christ's death, but anyways, the 1,000-year period essentially from 200 after Christ to 1200 AD, and that after that they left and got past the Great Wall essentially, and when Genghis Khan, but the book of for Esdras says that they're going to stay in Arzareth until the last time. So that's something we should be watching out for, according to the Bible, that when the lost in tribes leave Arzareth, that's probably somehow linked to what it's calling the last time, because it says they're going to dwell there. But when they leave, the Most High will hold back again the sources of the river Euphrates so that they can pass back over. And so when we go to Genghis Khan, here he is with, he's leaving Arzareth, and he comes to a river that he can't cross, and kneeling down 9 times toward the east, he worships the immortal God, and praying that he may easily pass over the mountain. And it's a mountain with a sea pass, with a river or a lake from the sounds of it. And it says right here that he's worshiping 9 times on bended knees towards the east. They beseech the Almighty and ever-living God that of his infinite mercy and grace he would vouchsafe and show them a way and passage so they can continue on. They prayed all night. In the morning they arose. They saw the sea was departed from the mountain and had left them a way of 9 feet in breadth to pass, where they were astonished exceedingly and rendered thanks to the immortal God and passed away and directed their steps toward the west. Now, west is important here because that's the exact direction that they would be leaving if they were in Arzareth and leaving. So again, here is where God is, according to this historical account, is holding back the water so Genghis Khan can leave Arzareth, which is definitely tied to the book of 4 Esdras when it says they had dwelled there until the last time, and when the Most High is going to hold back the sources of the river so that they can pass over to the west. Now, I want to take just a quick make a note on this Arzareth, because it's interesting that if you add an in to this, you get Nazareth, more or less. Now, in all of, like, Marco Polo wrote about Genghis Khan, and he always spelled his name as Jengis. So Genghis, which it might just be a phonetic coincidence, but phonetically it sounds similar to Jesus, especially when you spell it the way Marco Polo did with a Jengis. It's very similar, at least phonetically, Genghis and Jesus. But the interesting thing here is that Jesus is from Nazareth. Genghis is from Arzareth. And there seems to be a connection in the book of Revelation, because, and feel free to stop me at any time here, but in the book of Revelation, the first thing it starts out with is greetings to the 7 churches, John to the 7 churches which are in Asia. So the Revelation is a letter from John to the churches in Asia. Now, if we go back in time, what is Asia? It's Tartaria. It wasn't there. At some point, they called it Asia, and that's a modern translation. But writing to the 7 churches which are in Asia, you might as well say to the 7 churches which are in Tartaria. And the opening of the we got the white stone. I'm going to skip that for the moment. But the opening of the first seal in Revelation says, when you open the first seal, I behold a white horse, who sat on it, had a bow, and a crown was given to him. And he went out conquering and to conquer. And I wondered if that was, it seems to me to be a 1-to-1 match for Genghis Khan. Because in Genghis Khan's account, we've got the white horse. Pull up one account of the white horse here with Genghis Khan, where he has a vision of a white horse. He was a poor man, being a smith. Saw a vision in his sleep, namely a man armed in all white armor and mounted on a white horse, which, calling him by his name, said to him, Genghis, or Chenghis as it's spelled here, it is the will and the pleasure of the immortal God that you will be the ruler over the nations of the Mowgli, who are also called Tartarians, and that you'll be delivered from the dominion of your neighbors. And so Chenghis was overjoyed in hearing this. So, maybe Genghis Khan made this up because he knew he had a copy of Revelation. Don't ask me. But according to this story, Genghis Khan had a vision of a white man mounted on a white horse. The next thing Revelation says is that he has a bow. Now, the bow is the primary weapon of the Tartarians, of the Mongolians. We know that, of course, from history, but there's one reference here that they are excellent archers and cunning warriors with their bows. And not only that it's their main weapon. So if you see a Tartar or a Tartarian on a horse, you might as well assume that he's going to have a bow. Here it says that they escape on their horse, but the bows and arrows of the Tartars being the chief weapon which they use. So we got the rider on the white horse with a bow, and of course the crown was given to him. And Genghis Khan, we know that a crown was given to Genghis Khan.
I love all this stuff, dude. Johnny, what is your thoughts as a
what? The only hetero on the show?
No, as the resident
big dick guy.
Yeah, and the guy who went to church all of his life. What is your thoughts on what is being said right here?
I don't know. I don't think that has anything to do with me going to church.
Well, I think you're more.
Yeah, I mean, if you're saying does it have anything to do with my faith, it does not relate it to faith at all. And this isn't. No.
Does it resonate with you at all? Because I love it.
I enjoy this quite a lot. Yeah,
I can hear this stuff all day.
Whether it's true or not, it's not that important to me. Is what I'm trying to
Would
say.
you think-
I just think it's fascinating to learn about. Yeah.
Was Genghis Khan Christian? Would you say that's a possibility? I know that's it was. Is it a possibility? That's what I'm at.
Well, he's probably like animist or some kind of animism. I would assume. Like this is what the history records it as. Am I right by that? They all were kind of. But he was uniquely kind of open about religion, if I'm not mistaken, in his conquest. Like he kind of let people do what they wanted to, famously. For a conqueror, that's uncommon.
I find it interesting.
I do find it interesting, but I mean, we're talking about what 1,000 years between him and Jesus, right?
Yep, 1,200 years,
something like that. Yeah, 1,200, 1,300 years.
How much time has passed?
That's where this is saying, like, again, I don't know if this is true or not. This is just some of the history that I've found, and I thought it was interesting. And I think it's because I've been in the church. I was in the church as most of my life as a child. And so, and even after that, but so I find it interesting. But one thing about it is that they're always waiting for the return of Jesus, and they're always waiting for the events of Revelation to come to pass. And I find it interesting to think that, hey, maybe the events of Revelation already happened.
Interesting.
And that, either that by Masons, they've covered up that history so that, Christianity continues to wait for an event that's never going to happen because it already did. So, and that's like even right here on this book that I have on the screen, it says it's in regards to Genghis Khan. It says that they foolishly call him the Son of God. So then the full text says the shadow of spirits, which to me almost sounds like the Holy Ghost or the Holy Spirit, the shadow of spirit. Anyways,
yeah, it does. Yeah.
Then the Son of the immortal God. So we got two components of the for the which composes God. So at least the Tartarians or the Mongols here believe that Genghis Khan is the son of God. And so they and here it says that they set the crown upon his head and the great lords kissed his feet. So with at least in regards to the opening of the first seal, the third thing there was a crown was given to him, and the last one is that he went out conquering and to conquer. And I said not exactly what Genghis Khan did. So Genghis Khan, not even in my opinion, in historical fact, is a perfect match for the opening of the first seal in Revelation. I'll get off topic real quick with the stone because that's interesting.
Well, what was that real quick though? Before you do, what does that mean that we're in right now? Are we in the little season? Is the little season coming to an end? What?
Well, this would be after that.
This would be after the little season.
Yeah, if it's on this timeline, I mean, this isn't something.
So what are we in now? If this, let's say this is true.
Well, here's the thing. The crazy thing about the Book of Revelation is that it's obviously a guy who's what I call meditating and has gone out of body and has seen a vision.
Yeah.
And it says that essentially that he's in the spirit. When I won't find the verse right here, but he's like the guy is in the spirit and he sees this vision. And anyone who's, if you've done meditation and whatnot, you'll know that it's really hard to interpret what you see in a meditation and what that even means, let alone that it's going to correlate to reality in a one-to-one fashion. But one of the interesting things here that is going to bring us to the Lord of the Rings with that little stone that makes you disappear. In Revelation 2, verse 17, it says, To him who overcomes, I will give you some hidden manna to eat, and I will give him a white stone, and on the stone a new name written, which no one knows except him who receives it. So Revelation does talk about a little white stone with a name written on it that nobody knows. And so Prester John, Prester John is basically the Antichrist with Genghis Khan. He gets the name Un Khan. So UNKHAN, which to me sounds like anti-Khan. So he's kind of like the enemy of Genghis Khan in the early days in his own land, which is strange because he's a Christian. So, but regardless, there's some story of Genghis Khan and Prester John going to battle. So here it says that Prester John tells of the gentle language written for those of noble heart and subtle intellect, in which language flowers are mixed with other words. By the way, that sounds like the Voynich manuscript. Anyways, Prester John once set the emperor, who was very fond of the gentle language, a very valuable present of 3 stones. And he told him that this stone is worth your best city, the second one is worth your finest province, and the third one is worth your whole empire. And he took hold of the 3 stones, and by virtue of the last stone, it hid him from the view of the emperor and the people. So he takes the stone, and it makes him vanish. Okay, so that's where the Lord of the Rings reference, I think Tolkien probably drew from.
Sounds like some Infinity Stone stuff.
Yeah, it really does. Yeah. And going back a second, it would be, I guess it would be what we heard a couple of weeks ago, that we are at the end of the 1,000-year reign, if it was on this timeline. Because that was about 1,000 years ago. Yeah, so it was like Jesus came back.
Or
and then
after this?
What we would be in now would be the end of the 1,000-year reign.
Of Jesus.
If Genghis Khan was Jesus.
Or the second coming.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Which,
the second coming.
Man. So remember, he's
piss some people off. Damn.
He's going to make, I mean, even that whole idea that Genghis Khan might be the second coming of Christ is, I understand it. Make people mad. I'm sorry. That's just what I found in the history books. So.
That is so interesting.
But look at right here. Okay, we got, this is Disquisitions on the Anapapal Spirit. So anyways, an old book that's talking about the Tartarians and Alexander, Gog and Magog. They had been shut up in the mountains of Gog and Magog, which are mentioned in Revelation and by Alexander the Great. And they remained there until the year 1202 without daring to leave them, because Alexander had placed large trumpets at the entrance to the mountains. So when the wind blew, it sent forth blasts. And for 10 centuries, these cunning Tartars continued to believe that Alexander was stationed behind them because they heard the trumpets blowing. And so anyways, there's at least one reference to 1,000-year period. We've got 10 centuries, which are ending at 1202. So in my opinion, based on what these maps are saying, and they're calling this area of Arzareth Gog and Magog, and they're referring to the Mongolian people as essentially Satan. And there might be a reference to that right here. Let me pull it up. It's from Revelations, and it says, Revelation 20, which is the chapter that talks about the 1,000-year time period, the little season. It says, I saw an angel coming down from heaven, and he laid hold of the dragon. Now, dragon is the flag for Tartaria. So I don't know if that has any reference here or not, but there's 2 emblems that are on the Tartarian flag, and that is the dragon and the owl. So there could be a reference, that he laid hold of the dragon. And if you put it in context of the Mongols, it sounds like it, except it's basically, they're calling the Mongols the devil, but that's basically the name that you're calling them with the word Tartarians or Tartars, because that means like hell, the underworld. So, anyways, I don't know if that's if Revelation is certainly about Genghis Khan and the Tartarians, but we do have a reference to the 1,000-year period, anyways. Then that it ended essentially at 1202, after they had been enslaved for 10 centuries.
Heavy shit. I'm digesting all of it. Is there a book that breaks this all down in like dumb people talk?
That'd be nice, huh?
You should write it, dude, because I would love to understand what I just heard. Like with a specific, no, I get what you're saying, and I'm loving it. I would just love to be able to be like, break it down in simple terms. Because
you should do a coloring book for Sam. It's really
dude, have you ever thought about doing a pop-up book?
There we go.
It's interesting, to me, but such a paradigm-shifting idea of the possibilities. And again, on this show, we listen to everything. And I like this. I mean, again, don't take offense to it. It's just a conversation. But we're just trying to figure out old times.
Yeah, we haven't even gotten into the potentially offensive stuff yet. We're saving that for last.
We did some of that.
Well, the NZ, I think we haven't.
Well, we got to get into Reptilian Nephilim.
Yeah.
Oh, yes, for
that
sure.
doesn't offend anybody. The Reptilian Nephilim.
which isn't too long. You know, that's a pretty...
No, but I'm in on this, dude. I don't want you to take that not because I'm gonna give you my number because I just want to ask you questions. Like, talk to me like I'm an 8-year-old. Like, you know, like it's really interesting shit, dude. You should write a book breaking that down.
That's not a bad idea because there's not that, you know, like I said, there's to me, I think that there is a clear link between the events of the Tartarians and the Genghis Khan, because you got to remember the Tartarians basically disappeared. I mean, I know Mongols are still out there. I don't want to discredit that at all, or you know, but the Tartarians, for some reason, and there's even CIA documents that talk about how they're going to remove all history about the Tartarians, and that was done for some reason, you know. And they disappeared as a people. There's, you know, you can't go to Ancestry.com and it's going to say that you have Tartarian lineage, even though that could be a possibility. But you know, that's all that stuff has been removed. So in a sense, the Tartarians have had the end of their world, their end times. But when the Bible or the Book of 4 Esdras talks about them being in Arzareth till the end times, and that when they leave, that the water's going to be held back. Well, I've certainly found that there's an account of that happening with Genghis Khan. And for some reason throughout history, people have identified the area of Arzareth and the Mongols as Gog and Magog. So, you know, then again, we got the connection with Jesus, very similar phonetically sounding to Genghis, and they're both born in places that sound about, well, not born, but grew up in places that sound about exactly the same. But according to the Mongols, as we've seen, that they do believe that that Genghis Khan is the son of God. So according to them, I guess, you know, their perspective, he is kind of a second coming of Christ because, one, they're Christians, and two, they call Genghis Khan the son of God. So they, like the Tartarians at the time, must think that Genghis is some type of Jesus if they're calling him the son of God and they're Christians at the same time.
So the reign was 1,000 years of Genghis Khan or the Tartarians.
Well, that's like when they're trapped in the mountains by Alexander's Great Wall. So when the lost 10 tribes go from Israel to Arzareth,
and that is the little season to you when they're trapped there for 1,000 years.
Yeah. Yep. To me, that is the little season. When Revelation 20 talks about when the 1,000 years have expired, Satan will be released from his prison and will go out to deceive the nations, which are the four corners of the earth, Gog and Magog, to gather them together to battle, whose number is the sand of the sea. So it's saying that when the 1,000 years are up, Satan, which up here is called a dragon, which the Tartarians have a dragon on their shield, on their emblem, when they're released from their prison, which Alexander put the Tartarians in what is called a prison.
Okay. But then how does that make Genghis Khan, who is the leader of the Tartarians, Jesus, if his people are trapped?
If Revelation 20 is calling them Satan? That's a great question, but I don't know. To me, it sounds like right here in Revelation 20, it is talking about the Tartarian kingdom of the Mongols, because the Mongols, or Genghis Khan, they were stuck. They got trapped up there for 1,000 years beyond the Great Wall. And it wasn't until Genghis Khan was born and rallied up the people and, he was convinced them that he was the son of God. Then they went out and went on their conquest and finally broke out of that. And to me, that was the end of the 1,000 years. And when that's what it's talking about, when 1,000 years expired, Satan, I don't know how, I'm basically, now we're getting confused on who's Satan and who's Jesus. I understand that. So, but they, Gog and Magog lines up with the area of Arzareth on the map. And overall, a lot of, maybe Genghis Khan was the Antichrist. So that, I don't.
It's interesting to me. It's very interesting to me. It's very interesting.
The number is the sand, whose number is the sand of the sea, is another really Tartarian type of reference, because that was one thing about the Tartarians. Like when the Jewish historian Josephus wrote about the Tartarians, he said their numbers are so large that you can't, you're not even going to be able to count the number. And so there's a lot of references here. Gog and Magog, that links us back to the Arzareth. Number is the sand of the sea. That is a description of the Tartarians' numbers. Of course, gathering for battle. There's Genghis Khan. The end of the 1,000 years lines up with when they broke out of Alexander's wall.
So could Alexander be the Antichrist?
Absolutely, because he is not a real person. He's a story that was created by the
Alexander wasn't real.
No, and not the one who can. I mean, there have been a lot of different Alexanders throughout history. The one who created this wall with the help of demons. No, he is a fictional character created by Jewish legend, essentially.
Damn, this is crazy. This is a very interesting. I would love to read on this.
Here's, I think this one shows that the gates of these are the gates that I'm talking about. The gates of Alexander, known as the Caspian Gates. And
there's
so
a goat right there.
Here he is building it, and you could see that he's using demons. Like demons essentially are building the Great Wall of China. So
man, imagine being a demon slave.
That'd be the worst.
So much they're like, oh fuck you, you're a slave.
Yeah, and they're supposed to be, they're supposed to have power over us, and they got enslaved by.
Dude, that's crazy. So let's get real quick into the reptilians. What are your thoughts on the reptilians?
Now, if you don't believe in dinosaurs, you won't like this one, because I believe dinosaurs are real. But I know most of their bones in museums are fake and all that. But
could they be dragons?
Yeah, there's
a lot more references up before the 1800s of dragons, but there's no references of dinosaurs before that.
Now, hang on a second. I've got one, and it's the Urbano Monet world map. It shows dinosaurs before any dinosaurs' bones were ever found.
And
When was the first dinosaur bone?
Like
18 something.
1840 or something.
People didn't.
Okay.
People didn't live with dinosaurs though, so why would they have?
Here we got 1580, and that's the question I'm asking. Here's 1587, so before a dinosaur bone was ever found, and this is a popular flat Earth map. But if we go in on this one and you look at Antarctica, I don't know what else to describe. I mean, this maybe someone could say this is a lizard, but
could it be a dragon?
Like, it looks like to me dragons or like these are very Now this one is, you can debate all you want, but this is a pterodactyl. Where's it at? It's got an elephant. Oh, here it is.
Well, and that's kind of the history of there be dragons here. I mean, it's kind of the thing they put on the.
But this one, it don't even look like a dragon.
No,
this looks like a straight up pterodactyl.
And it's funny because that
carrying an elephant.
It's not even that's like the modern conception of dinosaurs
feathers.
too, with feathers.
This is real modern and 1587. So tell me, this is just goofy stuff that Urbano Monet came up with.
But wait up. How big is
over that one? Those two ones that look like they're.
Yeah.
My thing is
no, the other way. The other way. Those two, right
Those
there.
two large birds.
They look like could be albatross.
Yeah.
My thing is, how big is that T-Rex to carry an elephant? Because that's definitely a fucking elephant.
That's not a T-Rex.
Or my bad,
pterodactyl.
It's okay.
How big does that got to be?
Oh my goodness, that's huge.
Well, there was this thing called a terror bird that they talk about now too. Could have been that. Have you ever heard of a terror bird? That's
interesting.
It's oh boy, I can't even begin to say that. But yeah, called terror birds for short. Check
now, to be fair, here we go. We got the half man, half donkey. But again, more like over here, almost looking like a dragon or a dinosaur. So maybe some of them aren't dinosaurs. They look like dinosaurs to me, especially the ones
But even if they look like dinosaurs, they still could be dragons.
Well, what's the difference? I mean, maybe that word is dragon.
Well, the difference is that dinosaurs state that the whole story of creation isn't real, and it puts these giant creatures here millions of years ago.
I thought the difference was fire breathing.
There's no timeline in the book.
Or it's fire breathing. It could be either one.
Christians certainly don't have an answer for where dinosaurs came from, really, or where they went, because, like, if another thing is, if God has a perfect plan, why did He make dinosaurs and then kill them all?
Yeah, I mean, like, again, and then we don't have an answer for dinosaurs. We take a bunch of people that have told us, like the notion that two guys did the dinosaur bone wars for the longest time, and they were just they were in such a war that they were making shit up as they were going. They were putting heads in different places, skulls in different places, tails were necks, and I'm not saying it's dinosaurs. I'm not saying it's dragons. I'm just saying it's just really weird to me that no one before the 1800s ever really said the word dinosaurs.
Well, what are the big footsteps in Texas then? And you can go in the stream bed and walk in that are in the shape of
dragons.
Feet.
Because that word was around.
What's the difference, though? Is what I'm saying. Well, who cares? Dragons
fit into. We got the references to dragons in the Bible.
I'll just start calling them dragons then. But they're dinosaurs. Big deal. I mean, that fine. I don't get
even on the flag of Tartaria. They're
because I mean, wouldn't you assume like an Aztec or a Native American would have found a skull sometime in like the 1300s?
Like they'd be like, then the great T-Rex came and killed them all.
Well, okay, but according to modern science, the humans lived no time even remotely close to dinosaurs.
Well, if this is real,
they found fossilized footprints with human footprint in a dinosaur.
But the contemporary science on that is that they don't. They
weren't the same time or something like.
Exactly. Yeah.
I mean, who knows?
So, but how about this? If they weren't dinosaurs or dragons, they're large reptilians that are gone now.
I'm fine with that.
Dinosaurs
completely
died out
extinct.
65 million years before humans came about. So there's no in modern science. I'm just giving you I don't necessarily believe this, but in the modern, like, there's no expectation ever that humans
That's what
would
I'm
be
saying.
like, hey, there's a dinosaur. Like, that should never happen.
That's what I'm saying.
Right.
So for my assumption, I'm going to assume that dinosaurs were on Earth with humans, and that they probably were here a lot more recent than the millions or billions of years.
Well, I think it's certainly possible, too, that both could be true, that there were some species that managed to, for whatever, maybe they went north beyond the wall. I don't know.
Or they were wiped out in the Great Flood, and then only the water ones were able to survive, like crocodiles.
Possible. And
snakes,
the Bible, nowhere does
shitty ones.
The Bible doesn't say, hey, this is the complete history of this rock, you know? I mean, that whole beginning part when God's creating, who knows? That's millions of years, possibly. We don't know that.
I'm not against that. I'm not against
that. It could be a whole era. They think it's a day, but we don't know how long that is.
Yeah.
But in Genesis 6:4, it says, and everyone knows about this because talking about the Nephilim, but it says there were giants on the earth in those days.
Yes.
And also afterward, when the sons of God came into the daughters of men, and they bore children onto them.
These chicks put out that.
Boy, did they.
So I'm asking, who are these sons of God? Okay, the reason why I originally got interested in this verse was I said, wait a second, I thought there was only one son of God, and that was Jesus. Who are these other sons of gods that are reproducing with human females? So nevertheless, one thing interesting is that it says that the offspring are giants. So the next one to look at is Enoch chapter 7, where they're giving us the same story. And they all came together, took themselves wives, each one for himself, and they began to go into them and defile themselves with them, and taught them charms and enchantment, cutting the roots, made them acquainted with plants, and they became pregnant, and they bare great giants, whose height are 3,000 ells. Now, some people are going to say that this isn't actually talking about giants, that it's talking about some old men of the wise or something like that. This is talking about giants. That's why it says in the book of Enoch their exact height, which there's speculation on what an L is. But what he's telling you is that this thing is huge, and here's how tall it is. And it consumed all the acquisitions of men, and when men could no longer sustain them, the giants turned against them and devoured mankind. And they began to sin against birds, beasts, reptiles, fish, and to devour one another's flesh, drink the blood, and the earth laid accusation against the lawless ones. So now, to me, assuming that dinosaurs could have been here at the same time as humans, this sounds like a pretty good match to dinosaurs, because it says, first of all, they're giants.
Yeah.
Second of all, there's like at some point they're babies and they're growing up, and then they consume all the acquisition of men. And when men can no longer sustain the baby, the giant turned against mankind and devoured mankind and began to sin against. So sin, let's just call that eating and drinking its blood, same thing. Sin against the birds, beasts, reptiles, fish. So what in fossil record, whether it's a dragon or a dinosaur, I'm not sure. But one of them that's gone now, that's, in my opinion, that is the only thing. Yeah, it's the only thing that matches this description, where we have some sort of giant being that can devour humans and devours birds, beasts, reptiles, fish, and they also devour one another and drink each other's blood. That sounds like what happens with dinosaurs. They're out fighting, eating everything. Human couldn't keep up with feeding it. And then the next question you're going to say is, how wouldn't they all be the same? Why aren't they in humanoid form? And one thing to pay attention to is the book of Jubilees 7:22, which has the same exact account, but it gives us one extra detail about this, and that it says that they begat sons, the Nephilim. So same thing, we call them the Watchers here. They fornicate with the Watchers and laid their ordinance after the daughters of men and took themselves wives. And
at least they were in committed relationships.
Yeah, they say had picked one. You know, you got to give it to them for that. They begat sons for the Nephilim, or the Nephilim. The Nephilim is what they are, and they were all unlike. And so I looked up into this Hebrew word right here, which is unlike, and it's saying that none of them were the same. So, and I know there's minor different characteristics for everybody, but there's certainly at least one explanation for, in my opinion, for the different species of dinosaurs. Like we get the flying one, we get the T-Rex, so it's saying here that of these giants that they are all dissimilar. There isn't really one of them that's the same as the next.
Straight up Godzilla Titan stuff.
Yeah.
Godzilla, King Kong, Titans.
Well, I'm personally not a believer in aliens. I think that aliens are something from the spirit realm, and that it's just like you're seeing or hearing something, a being that's in the spirit realm. However, this one theory is the one that makes me think outside of that box, because if this theory is true and that these giants that Genesis, Enoch, and the Book of Jubilees are talking about are actually dinosaurs, or dragons, which is the only thing we have in fossil record that matches the description, then that means that somewhere in the genetic mixing up, a reptilian gene came in, and it didn't come from the human women. So that would make me say that God's sons here must have some type of reptilian gene, because the women obviously don't, right? And the dinosaurs being born all have a reptilian, all have reptilian qualities. So on that vein, I'm saying, like, what in the world's going on? Are the sons of God reptilian aliens reproducing with human females? And as far as the birthing thing goes, it couldn't give birth to a T-Rex. You're probably right. But then again, if a dinosaur egg was yay big, maybe, this is getting a little far out there. But I was just reading the old biblical books, and what it describes sounds to me like dinosaurs.
It's interesting to me, and it's my joke I did about how girls like bad boys, and there's no bigger bad boy than a fallen angel, right?
Yep,
that's why they're just totally hooking up with them. Oh, he's so dangerous. So dangerous.
Imagine him being a reptilian alien.
Yep. So
even better.
Let's get into your final thing that is super dangerous: the NZ shooting. Let's use our code words so we don't get in trouble, but you believe that there was a particular shooting that didn't make sense to you.
Yep, I analyzed it frame by frame, and I know I can see for a fact that the whole thing is a complete hoax. And we're talking about happened in 2019 in NZ, and it happened at a place of worship for a religion. There we go. You could figure it out based on that. But there's a 17-minute live stream of a shooter going in, and he, for some reason, live streamed to, of course, we know now, to just get a big old lie out there.
And to traumatize people.
And there's people who have gone to prison for sharing that 17-minute live stream video, even though it's fake. But I at least like to bring awareness to it, because there's a lot of different people who say that this shooting was fake and that one's fake, and they're all fake. And certainly there's, crisis actor forums with the Department of Homeland Security where they, like, crisis actors are a real thing. They do film these things, and it's a common practice. People get paid to do it. One of them that I also analyzed that I know was the one in Las Vegas at the concert, and I'm not going to get into that one too much, but there are so many crazy things that it just don't line up, but not as bad as the 2019 NZ. And specifically, if you're curious to see the fakery, if you want to see it for yourself, the real dead giveaway is that the guy starts.
There's stuff with his hands too, right? Like some weird digital stuff goes on with his hands as well.
Yeah. Which, and I think is just the compression of the MPEG video and probably a poor quality of because it was actually broadcast via live stream, even though it wasn't live. But so some things, here's the facts. It said that he walked into that place, drove to it, walked in with his guns, did a shooting, and left. And there's no rhyme or reason why he would be there twice. Like, he would have only gone in and left. That would have been the end, though. He wouldn't have gone back. So at the beginning of the 17-minute live stream, he's in his car, and it shows him driving to the location, getting out of the car, pulling up his gun, walking into the front door. And when he walks in the front door, laying on the floor, halfway down the hall in front of him, is a magazine from his gun. And there's no, like, you could watch the video. He didn't throw it up there. He didn't, like, when he walked into that place, his magazine was, he had an extra magazine already in there. And we know it was his because he wrote this special white letters all over his magazines with these words on them. And so, like, you can see it clear as day that he's already got a magazine at the location when he got there. And there was no, so through the whole analysis of the video, which I can't have on YouTube, it's been banned. If you talk about this topic on YouTube, I actually had a whole YouTube channel deleted over it because I posted a video about this topic. But if you analyze the video, it's on archive.org on my channel, Spill the Truth. I got a link to that on my YouTube channel. So if you want to see my analysis of this video, it's not on YouTube. You got to go to archive.org. But what you can see there is that they're on at least a second take, and that the people that he's shooting in the video are dummies. You can actually see them swap a real person with a dummy who's wearing the same exact clothes, so it looks like the same person. And you can see it when they swap that person with a dummy. And so the shooter leaves the building and comes back in, and then now that the dummy's there, he starts shooting it. So anyways, at first it's a difficult video to watch because you feel like you're watching people getting shot. And then I need to stop sharing my screen here. And then after, you've watched it for a while, you realize that this thing isn't, there's actually nobody dying here. And not only that, there's inconsistencies that defy all logic and explanation, such as the fact that when he walked in, there was already magazines for his gun inside of the location that he had essentially dropped on previous takes. So what was the purpose of all that? I don't know, why they did.
Well, didn't they get rid of guns after that?
Yeah, that was one thing. Another interesting thing about that is that John Podesta, who is the campaign manager for Hillary Clinton,
there he is
tied up in all kinds of nonsense. He flew to he flew down there, I think it was 4 days. And he did a media interview and said, like, this is the first time I've ever been here. I've never flown to this country. And my first, 4 days before that happened, he lands there. And so I thought, what an interesting coincidence that this guy shows up 4 days before this event goes down. And the whole thing is completely phony. You can say what you want about other shootings. I know some of them were real.
Well, there's a little bit of everything in there too. Like the Trump shooting was, there's a lot of people discuss how real that was, but I do believe somebody died. I think they're willing to sacrifice people.
I got his picture right here on my computer. That's another one I looked into, and I'm like, yeah, they killed a guy on that one, but the way Trump got shot, though, I think he got shot, and it seemed pretty legitimate. I don't think someone would. Maybe they did it with special effects and a little powder. It's definitely possible.
My whole thing is this: is when you have a high impact event like that, those dudes don't get out of there. They're 100% on those. Those things get completed to 1,000%. You don't get out of those high impact events like that. Now, when we get into this shooting, which is stuff we've talked about with school shootings here, and this gets into nonlinear warfare. So you see this. He's got another mag there, right? And you're like, okay, why is that there? Why can I see this? And it goes, well, maybe they want you to see it as a conspiracy theorist. So now you and your normie friends will never agree on anything. That's divide and conquer. So for me, it's just like if you look at JFK, 9/11, RFK Junior, RFK Senior, you can just go through all these things where it's like, if they want that done, they have multiple layers to get that stuff done. And how quickly they had like 3 different shooters. Oh, is it this guy? Is it this guy? Is it this guy? Like instantly. And then all the stuff that doesn't make sense, like this little emo twink guy can carry a ladder and a heavy gun and just walk right in and put it up and nobody says something. He's doing on top of the roof of the building where all the police officers are. Nobody's doing something. We've watched the video where they just look like they're walking in circles. They're like it's some Benny Hill stuff. Like
you think? Yep. You think Trump's trying to get down to the bottom of it, or you think he's in on it and doesn't care? Like, all right, whatever.
Like he's just moved on. Yeah, he mentions it as like, they tried to take me out, but. Again, I get into this stuff. It's like so much of that is like, let's herd everybody into this dude. Yeah. Let's implode this one party, herd everybody into this guy. And that's my opinion. And it's just like those dudes don't miss. That's my humble opinion.
Yeah.
How do you get there with a ladder? How do you walk up with a ladder?
They were in on it if that guy to get up on that roof where he was at. That was coordinated and allowed to happen. That's without a doubt.
Yeah, I mean, when they want it, they got it. Look, JFK got his whole head was off, not just a little bit of a near.
3 different people, and the guy on the roof when they take a picture of him dead doesn't look like the guy they said. Looks like this other guy that they said that no one's heard from since. So it's interesting to me. It's a lot. Anything is possible, man. But this gets into why would they do this? They want to take away the guns. And once they take away the guns, now all of a sudden they could just do. I mean, look at the year this happened, 2019. What happens after that? COVID. And think about what they were doing in New Zealand and what they were doing in Australia and what they were doing in Canada. I mean, like Canada, you remember they're like, dude, just register your guns. We just want to know who has guns. And then they're like, yeah, we need your guns. We're coming to take your guns because we want to send them to the Ukraine. I mean, everything is a step to another step to get to where they want to go.
Do you remember whatever happened to the guy that blew up the Cybertruck outside Trump's thing?
Well,
I don't know what happened to him.
Yeah, he was supposed to be alive.
But just remember, like right after that, right before that was the pager thing, and then suddenly that truck blows up. I mean, I don't trust any of that stuff. Everything is a rich man's trick.
Yeah, for sure.
To manipulate us into getting into others, to believing other stuff. So we'll see, man. We will definitely see. It is an interesting time, Ryan. Ryan, one more time. Tell them where they can find you.
On YouTube. That's youtube.com/my name, Ryan Zehm.
All right, links below, man. Great episode. Thank you for coming on. Let's break it down. All right, guys, what'd you guys think?
We went everywhere. Missing body, missing people.
I mean, it was an action-packed episode.
That guy lives a life, dude. Like,
I was thinking about that. Yeah. You know, here I'm trying to do jujitsu twice a week. This guy's like, about a year it's going to take me to get there. I'm like, a year?
Dude, I watched one of his videos, and he just is in, somewhere in the Northlands, and stumbles upon this snowed-in cottage kind of place that's clearly like of public use. Like, and you go in there and it's completely empty, and he's got like a whiteboard and it's instructions on how to use the wood stove for just people who happen to stumble into this place. He's like, you can hear him talking. He's like, looks like I'm going to actually have a warm night tonight. So this guy's just been sleeping out in the snow, I guess, for weeks on end. I don't know. Boy,
That interests you.
I find it fascinating. One of my favorite shows of all time is Survivor Man. Not Bear Grylls, the charlatan, but actual Survivor Man. You know, I love that guy. And yeah, I love that kind of growing up in the country. You know, I just have a lot of respect for that.
It's just, man, just going into the big nothing.
And my part is like, why is the government scared? I would let him die. I'd be like, yeah, oh, there's someone there. Okay, let him do his thing. Like whatever.
Part of it is like, okay, so what? Then it becomes you're doing that on the taxpayer. You're being rescued on the taxpayer's dime. Do you know what I mean? So if they have to send a helicopter out there that costs $60,000 to operate, or you know what I mean?
That makes sense.
You know what I mean? Like the people they pull off of mountains all the time that were not equipped. So I guess I get that. But
Have you guys seen the new mountain that is just growing out of the ocean, and it's growing like 130 feet a week? And it's just, and they think by the end it will be the tallest mountain in the world.
It's growing 130 feet a week?
Yeah.
I just looked it up. I guess it's in the Pacific Ocean.
Yeah. It came out of
Where is
nowhere.
it? Is it on the screen?
No, I just clicked it. I'm just trying to figure out exactly what it is.
How crazy is that? Check
So-
out Doom Scroll
Can you
and
pull
we'll
it
watch that video.
Oh, let me see.
Yeah, it's just growing out of nowhere.
Scientists confirm underwater mountains harbor abundant. Well, that's underwater mountains, though.
No, I'm talking about this mountain is out of the water. It's so big. And it's all black. It's like crazy.
Seamounts are under. No, that's not it.
I found a TikTok, but I don't know if
Is
that's
it like a volcanic kind of thing?
No, it's just, yeah, this is it. This is the guy talking about. Can you turn up the sound?
Johnny needs to.
Yeah. What's the headline on that? Oh, I see it right here. Okay. I question anytime I get a TikTok.
So
but let's
that
see.
thing's insane. But AI right now with AI, I don't even know if that's fucking a real mountain, a real piece of
Let's
land.
hear it.
Where's the mute button?
Ocean last week, and it is the rapidest growing mountain that's ever been on the history of planet Earth. They said that within 7 years, it's going to be taller than Mount Everest. It's growing at a rate of 127 feet per day.
Within 7
which
years?
is
Per
just
day?
astronomical, if you ask me. This is it. Here in the background, you can
Is
see
this
that it's
real?
This can't be real.
years,
No.
It's going to be taller.
Hold on. How many?
Mount Everest. It's growing at a rate of 127 feet per day, which is just
Damn.
astronomical if you ask me. This is it. Here in the background, you can see that it's quite steep and quite cool. They're calling it Ball's Pyramid because Professor Ball discovered it, and they're keeping the locale super secretive. It's somewhere between New Zealand and Australia, though. You can see that boat there. That's mountaineers.
Balls, what is it
Ball's
called?
Pyramid. I guess that is real.
First to climb to the peak at the top. One mountaineer is trying to get a permit so he can build a little cottage up at the top and always be the first to climb this new tallest.
I want
mountain.
climbing,
That
so when it's
doesn't sound
Higher
tallest.
than Mount Everest. It's quite amazing. I asked my cousin who works at PetSmart in the fish section what we know about Mount Everest.
That's the funniest thing. But it's real.
No, it's a real place, but it's been discovered like in 1853. They discovered it, and it's been the exact same height.
Hey, but what? Can you return it? I need to know what his cousin from PetSmart had to say about this.
I can't believe we got by this. Sam, dude, you don't do any kind of
Shut up,
any kind
Johnny.
of filtering
I
on
asked
your.
my cousin who works at PetSmart in the fish section what we know about mountains, and she said typically they don't grow this fast, and they're made out of rock, which is super cool. But this one does have some plantage on it. You can
I love it. You just take a serious tone, and Sam's like, "Yep, that seems legit."
Johnny, I'm sorry if I trust people.
Growing 120 feet a day.
Johnny, I trust people.
Gonna be as tall as Mount Everest
So
in 3 months.
I thought it was a great episode. It's all my favorite things. I think he needs to figure out, is Genghis Khan the Antichrist or is he son of God?
Jesus.
I think you have to figure it out. That's the only part of that I would have issue with.
yeah.
You got presented with, this is what I believe, this is what I know. But overall, I love it.
It's funny. I just got a TikTok because we talked to Fittest Flat Earther, talked about him, and I just got a TikTok promoting. I don't follow that or anything, but I went there one time, and now TikTok it says, "You interacted with them recently. Check out their post." It's curious that he's getting pushed by TikTok like
That's
that.
what I'm saying.
Must be nice.
Well, it's just like, I'm sorry. He's like, I'm sorry, you're mad at me. I go, dude, you're just a grifter. You're just a clout chaser. You just put famous people, and I'm not even famous, but you put famous people in your videos, and then everyone rushes to see what you're talking shit about them. And he's already starting to enter into his villain phase where it's just shitting on people. It always starts like you see with comedy right now. All these comedy channels where they break down specials and podcasts. It always starts out as like, oh, here's what's going on with them. And then they realize once they do kind of a negative story, it gets more views. So now they start going into the dark, dark waters of being a troll. And I see, and now all of their titles are just nasty. This special flop. This guy's hated, and it's just like like you can't do it. You can't do it. If you could do it, I would go, okay, this guy knows what he's talking about.
One of the early explorations of this kind of new media that what would you say is fueled by dark energy like that was that film Nightcrawler with Jake Gyllenhaal. Do you remember?
Yeah.
That? And remember how they went out and the whole idea was for the local news you would shoot crashes and just horrible shit going on around the community. And at what point does it become profitable for you to actually cause some of the bad things to happen? Is that
Johnny,
explored by
that is my whole thing with Animal Planet. Yeah. All of those animals are all set up.
Yeah.
They just happen to have the perfect shot. Because I remember I was watching a thing where gazelles were all running this way, and then suddenly this gazelle, for no reason, just ran the other way and just got eaten.
I like this theory. I like it a lot.
It's just snuff films. That's all they are. It's
People
giant
love that
snuff
shit,
films.
Dude. People love that shit.
Okay, so if you go to SamTripoli.com, go to SamTripoli.com. Check it out. All the videos are there. My dates. Again, thank you to everybody who came to the revival. Stand up at Bellflower on the 10th. Comedy Chaos on the 13th. Tinfoil Hat, Cleveland. Tinfoil Hat, Pittsburgh. Oh, yeah, 2 different shows. Sorry about that. Got that right. Looks like Boston's coming. More dates come. I'm coming everywhere, as all the comics say. The premium content is fire. It is topical. It is hard hitting. I talked to 2 of the best researchers in the biz on whatever this is, Austin Picard and Brad Binkley. And Deep Conspiracy Rewinds. We watch docs on conspiracies together. I'll give you my thoughts on it. And then we go down to comedy. And that is where you get everything. These other ones I'll put 2 maybe on, maybe 1. So we got Rockfin. We also have Substack. We also have locals. If you go to patreon.com/cashdaddies, dude, people are making some money. Now, obviously, if you shouldn't invest anything you can't afford to lose, because investing is gambling, and you gotta play with the money you can lose where you won't be homeless. But $20 a month sounds like a lot until you realize that Howie's putting out 3 episodes a week, three episodes a little like videos a day. Then we put out some premium content once a week. You get the extra content.
He's answering questions all the time, just
all
nonstop.
the time. He's great at it. Howie Dewey is a idiot savant. So he's doing great. So check out patreon.com/cashdaddies. T-shirts are on fire. T-shirts on fire. Chaos Twins are here. And then all of our affiliates are there. So check them out. Anything you need. We're going to be adding more affiliates as we go. All these are good people. All these are things that make your life better. Just check them out. Anything else, guys?
Hit that like button, subscribe. I got a new podcast called Extreme Marks the Spot with the female co-host, Chili. You know her.
Okay.
Yeah, she's going to be my Johnny. So go check it out on XG Marks the Spot on YouTube
that.
and Spotify. Yeah.
Imagine XG was your boss. And you're like, hey, man, what is going on with this? Do you think XG is a good boss or just a ball buster? Because I feel like XG gets his balls busted a lot. So then he kind of thinks that's what authority does. So he's just laying into Chili all the time. Chili, man, what the fuck?
It's a girl, you said?
Yeah, it's a girl. Yeah, it's a female.
She's a great artist.
Yeah.
You can't shit on a girl.
Then maybe that's why he's like, oh, I got to get a girl here so I don't yell at her. I don't get my Mexican
Or maybe
machismo.
trying to get a new demographic for Tinfoil. Send them over here. We need to give you some new females.
So what are you doing, chick stuff over there?
Nah.
Look at this flower dress. Do you guys like wear underwear with that? Do you guys not wear underwear sometimes? Does it mean you're hardy? Johnny, what do you want to promote?
Check out Broken Sam on Twitter at Broken Sam, I think, something like that.
Johnny, that was so enthusiastic.
We'll follow if you give a 5-star review to the podcast. We'll follow you back. So
yeah, do it on this one. We should start doing that. I'm thinking about possibly bringing back, even though I do too many shows.
Well, let's see. Can you read one of these 5-star reviews? That way, maybe people would leave.
You don't want to do a Tinfoil Hat Live?
Oh, that's not a different show, is it?
Yeah.
Here, read one of these 5 stars. Do one of these 5 stars for these
Sam,
people.
this is from
I Be Toad.
I Be Toad. I love all your shows, 5 stars every show. But the word you are searching for is semantics. Semantics. Stop being semantic.
Stop saying schematics.
Fuck you, Johnny.
Sorry, you read my.
Guys, enjoy these highlights.
There. Here's a clip from the latest Broken Sim. I'm just gonna get right into it. This is from Chicago Tribune, or no, New York Daily News. It's I'm getting it aggregated. Kanye West detailed a years-long incestuous relationship with an unnamed cousin in his latest social media outburst. I love that they're calling them outbursts now.
See, I think it's longer than that. I think he did it for like 8 years. Because there was, so it comes out, he's like, I did till I was 14, right? Which is a weird statement to make if you only start at 13, right? It's a weird statement to make.
Yeah, 14. Yeah.
So
well, can I read the thing he said? It's the way he puts it. It's just, I mean, it's and like, I'm just gonna. Okay, the song is called "Cousins" in all caps. He says, it's about my cousin that's locked in jail for life for killing a pregnant lady a few years ago. And I told him we wouldn't look at, quote, dirty magazines together anymore. Perhaps in my self-centered mess, I felt it was my fault that I showed him those dirty magazines when he was 6. And then we acted out what we saw.
Yeah, but so the whole thing is, how old is the cousin?
I don't know.
And I think they're the same age.
My dad had Playboy magazines, but the magazines I found
this is where it gets weird.
The top of my mom's closet were different. My name is Ye, and I S'd my cousin's D until I was 14.
So I think that was 8 years. I could be wrong, though.
Let's see.
But people are trying to say, find out how old Kanye is and how old his cousin is.
By the way, all the replies to him now are about this.
Of course.
Yeah. It's just like he asked the question today, like he's into design now and like hiring people, and he's like, "Who designed the spaceship in the movie Nope?" Like he tweeted out, and somebody was like, "I don't know, they were just probably sucking your cousin's dick." It's just everything somehow gets tied back to that. Now, I don't think the guy's. I think he's unnamed is the idea, so they don't.
No, someone named his cousin.
They did name it.
Yeah, I don't know. I can't find it.
They
though.
must the mainstream.
And I'm not gonna work on
mainstream
it.
Reporters
It is super dark. Now, there's this thing that you are only as sick as your secrets, and to get these things out.
Yeah, he's got none.
Yeah, I mean, what are you going to do to him now?
Yeah, I mean,
but
dude,
the question is, one, why are all these rappers gay? Right? Why are all these rappers gay? And two, why is he coming out with this? Poor Steve Austin. Poor Steve Austin did that for a moment and didn't realize memes were going to be a thing.
It's somebody tweeted Kanye West leaving his cousin's house, and it's Steve Austin like covered in milk. Oh dear.
That looks like all the cousins.
Really. Yeah, was it just Kanye or was it?
So the notion is he just getting ahead of this? Ahead of something.
Oh, I see. Yeah. Kind of like what we accused the Russell Brand.
Yeah. The Russell Brand thing is, hey man. Now here's what makes Russell Brand different: is he was arrested, right? Is it that
was Russell Brand arrested?
Will you look it up? See if he was. I think he was arrested and released on his own cognizance. Where's he going to go hide?
Charged with. I don't see anything about arrest.
Charges say arrest.
No. Charge just means you've been charged. You don't get arrested necessarily to be charged.
But that's legal court. That's not
you can be
civil
charged.
Court.
It doesn't say he was arrested. No, they would have perp walked him if that was. There would have been mugshots when you get arrested. There's mugshots.
Would you like to see him in swug shotties, swug shorties?
Keep trying. You might get there.
Swug waddies. But Johnny, so that's the
mug shotties.
That is the real question. That is the real question. Why did he come out and say that?
Look. It's that dog fart thing.
So then Jeffree Star comes out. Do you know who Jeffree Star is?
I know
that
Ken
fashion
Star is.
Designer, trans woman.
What is it? Is it now a man?
No, it's a dude who's a chick.
And
she was on the Naughty Show a long time ago.
Still going by Jeffree?
Yeah, look at it. And
Jeffree
she's one of those super shiny object trans. They're like shiny objects.
Oh, the kinds that Alex Jones is super into.
Yeah, the ones who are like, I see a woman. That Blair White. I see a woman, a God-made woman. You're like,
this one is not quite as advanced a model.
No, but look at that picture down there. That's pretty advanced. Click on that one. That's a pretty advanced. I'm sure if you saw Blair White not done,
okay,
right?
I don't know.
But the point is, Johnny. They're the shiny object ones.
Yeah, the celebrities, yeah.
It's the ones who look like your gym teacher in drag that you're like, please stop.
It's that futuristic thing you're talking about.
Yeah. So anyways, there was this whole rumor that they gotten together.
Wait, who?
Jeffree Star and Kanye?
Really?
So then he tweeted, whatever will make you happy. But she tweeted, she's like, fine, I think it's a good time. Yes, it's true that they had hooked up. And that supposedly is the reason why Kim Kardashian left. Imagine being married to Kim Kardashian with the feet of black dong that have been in there. And then you get one white tiny dick and she's like, I'm out.
He tweeted yesterday. He said I should have boned Paris Hilton instead. Can you imagine? He said I would have ruled the world with all. He said I'd own all the Hiltons by now. Is what he said.
I mean, he's still funny to me.
No, he's hilarious. Are you kidding?
I still think he's hilarious.
I wonder if he's not doing. I mean, I think he's probably having a psychotic break, but I wonder if he's not. Remember when Joaquin Phoenix did that thing for a while where everybody thought he was losing it? And he went on Letterman and kind of acted
when he was in his like, he
was doing that movie.
I'm a tortured artist.
Well, but he was doing that movie though. It was all for that. He was doing a character.
Yeah.
I wonder maybe
if they go too far.
No, if he's faking it for
but I mean, this is a long fake.
It's a commit, yeah.
And everything is just burning around him.
Well, I mean,
it's like that one meme with the dog in the house that's on fire.
Yes, yeah, totally.
And he's just him just thinking to himself, stay in character. Stay in
totally.
character.
Well, I mean, really though, if you remember the guy we talked about last week, Major Underbite, like he believes that people fake their deaths and then go live the rest of their lives committing to being someone else.
I mean, people used to fake their deaths, and I'm sure people still do. They fake their death. But the issue last week, not to regurgitate an old episode, is to think that you're a controlled op if you don't believe that Jimi Hendrix is Morgan Freeman.
Yeah.
Like, when you say that to people, you're supposed to go, if you're asking me, someone goes, what's the wildest conspiracy you believe in? Here's a weird one. If you're asking me, Jimi Hendrix is Morgan Freeman. Yeah. That's what you say. That is like the fringe one where you're talking to someone and you've had a deep dive into it, or it's your super deep in the conspiracy friend and you guys talked about everything. You're like, here's a new one. That's what you get into. To act like that is the admission into the tent is absolutely insanity.
No, that's the deep end. Yeah, for sure.
That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying, you know? And so anyways, that's
Kanye, and then he's tweeting about like free energy a lot now and Tesla stuff.
Yeah, that's where
like
you get
that was his thing today.
That's where you get into.
If you look here,
hold on.
Rock formations he's showing.
Hold on, but dude, look at those numbers. They're not. Oh, it's only 2 minutes.
Yeah, he's tweeting as we speak right now. Love Thug, he says, talking about Young Thug. Free Earth in all caps 41 minutes ago. He's talking about cymatics. He's just discovered cymatics now.
He's on the one right now.
Yeah, he needs to be on tinfoil hat. He really does.
Come on the show, Yee. We'll make you feel comfortable.
Yeah, you gotta get his name right. You want him on?
Yee, yo, what?
Kanye, yay.
Yay!
This is an energetic coil that generates a high voltage, high frequency current that can jump across a small gap in the air to the bulb, causing it to light up. I think they had that at Spencer Gift when I was a kid. Passive solar home has cross breezes and heating. I don't know if he's just on some kind of like
he's on some kick,
design
but dude, he's not getting huge numbers like he used to, right? Like for Kanye.
They shadow banned him. Yeah. Ivanka Trump could have and should have done better, and her dad knows it.
That's not so crazy. Where's the lie?
As it is in heaven, he's got what? Tesla coil there? Is that what that is?
Yeah, I guess so.
Drome on Earth.
Yeah, they definitely shadow banned him.
None of you N-words play with me. Shut the F up. And he's talking about nuclear fission here.
Yeah, he's definitely shadow banned.
Molten sodium reactors. Dirk curve. The Dirk curve is a
yeah, he's on a run right now. He's on a SamTripoli on Twitter run.
This is all within the past hour. Yeah, he really is. Geothermal energy. For
yeah, this guy's great.
Thank God, no more blue pill. You used to be smashed, now you're pass. Who's he talking about?
I don't even know.
Katy Perry.
Oh, yeah.
We'll talk about her a little bit later.
Oh, yeah, with her weird robot. Like,
dude, her tour, she just started her tour, and I've never seen so much bad feedback. We might as well just show it while we're here, since he's shitting on her. Dude, this footage is, I mean, she's going to try to have it deleted from the internet, surely. She's got to change this up and just go up there and sing. If you'd like to hear the rest of this episode, subscribe to Broken Simulation in your podcasting app, or check us out at youtube.com/SamTripoli.
We go deep, homeboy. Aaron, open your mind. Drink from the fountain of knowledge. There's lizard people everywhere. That's some interdimensional shit. Wake up, Aaron.
This is only the beginning.
Dude, you just blew my mind.
Tinfoil hack.